Yo, 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 yo! What is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a great day. So, I don't know. I guess I'm just going to say, at least the Eagles tried.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
What is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So I want to go over some news for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think some news that have come to our attention right now. The Eagles are in the 10th spot of this draft, okay? They're on the line looking inside the top 10. And obviously there's teams that want to trade up. There's teams that want to trade back. And mostly for quarterbacks, okay? You got the Patriots. You have the Titans that may want to trade up into the top 5 for quarterbacks. The Cardinals are another team that are trying to maybe contemplating whether they're trading out. And obviously we have more Jalen Carter news as of right now. Okay, now the rumors around the league, some new news has surfaced about the Eagles and their interest for Jalen Carter is from every GM around the league is pretty much saying the Eagles have a lot of interest. Now, honestly, I think that really helps when Jalen Carter and his agent are not looking for interviews outside the top 10, so you could kind of narrow it down on what teams are in the top 10 and where he could go. Now, Jalen Carter has only visited the Eagles and the Chicago Bears. Now he has visited a third team, and it's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, Seattle has the 5th overall pick. I figured when they signed Jermont Jones to that big deal from Denver, okay, it was like $51 million, 3 years. I figured maybe they're not going to hit on this position. Maybe we don't have to worry about Seattle as much. But you still have to look at Detroit. You have to look at the Raiders that could have a lot of interest in Jalen Carter. Some teams are staying very, very quiet. Okay, even though the Raiders have said, we're not in on Jalen Carter. Why would a team come out and say that? Really makes no sense. Smoke screen. This is what it's all about at the end of the day. It's smoke screens. It's all that stuff. Now, Seattle is the third team to interview him in the top 10 at 5. And like I said, before the draft, before free agency, really, after Jermont Jones did sign that big deal, I figured they really wouldn't double dip at this position. But maybe they want to do that. And I don't know if the Eagles are going to trade up that high up. I don't know what it's going to cost to move up from 10 to 4 or at least with the Cardinals. If you're going to go to 3, you might as well draft Will Anderson at this point. You know what I mean? Like, if the Eagles say, hey, we're going to jump in front of Seattle, you might as well jump a couple spots ahead because you might as well get Will Anderson at that point if you're really going to move that far up, okay? But if, Jalen Carter is drafted by Seattle and some teams maybe move up, if the Eagles are not going after Bijan Robinson at 10 as the third best player in this draft, what else could they do? What if the Eagles are still wanting to draft that complimentary piece, a blue chip player that could start right now next to Jordan Davis? Because when you really look at the defensive tackle position right now, you have Davis, you have Fletcher Cox that really needs more of a rotation because he just won't play well. He's got to have 35% of the snaps because I don't think he could play at a high level anymore, but with a good rotation, I think he'll be fine. Milton Williams is getting better every single year as a rotational guy. Has really proved to be pretty good. Is doing a good job. And Tala Tulu that we have, I can never say his name right, from USC that we drafted a couple years ago, has dealt with some injuries and more of a run stuffer for this team. There's really not much there. Kadavius Street is obviously a good one where he can maybe get 3 to 5 sacks for the year. And I thought that signing was really good. I think he'll play really well in this group with these DTs. But getting that blue chip player right there, if they have to move back, if Carter's not there, they don't want to take Bijan, I say you do move back a few spots here. Garner yourself a 4th, 5th, or a 6th round pick. Keep yourself alive in this draft because what other positions they're going to need? Yeah, I think they can get some good value in the 4th to 5th round this draft, whether they want to get a running back or whether they want to kind of switch up and maybe get a linebacker that they never thought they would get. Who knows what they might do here? But at the end of the day, you're either going to stay at 10 or you're going to trade back. And I think if Carter, Anderson, and if they say, we're not going to take Bijan, and they make the decision of taking the next best talent available, then you might have to change it up a little bit, okay? So Carter, obviously, I think other teams that might be interested to bring him in for visits, I think the Cardinals, I think could be the Lions, so we're kind of see how many more teams are going to get him on a pre-draft visit and see what happens there. But if you're going to trade back, and I think you should, if you're not taking Bijan, hell, like taking Brian Barisi, I can never say his last name. Taking him from Clemson would be fine with me. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't mind this move at all. I think would be a force to be reckoned with on this defensive line. I think brings a lot of pressure. His one-on-ones are great. Really good player. I think after like a year, he's going to play really well. I think he'll actually do really well in those one-on-ones this year. I think he's top of the line, man. I think a lot of teams don't, even a lot of news doesn't really come of him too much, and I think he's overlooked a little bit at times. And I think will play really well. And even not even that, but even Kalijah Kancey, I think everyone's been talking about him that he's undersized. He's only getting this much attention because of his. Obviously a really, really good combine is going to help that. But I think as much as I think he's average, okay, for size-wise, I think he's average. And I think we'll bulk on a little bit more. Even being in the NFL, he will bulk on some weight. And I think on those one-on-ones, what he could do, the versatility that he does have as well, because they can move him to the outside technique as well, I think he got some value here. And like I said, I wouldn't draft Kancey at 10. I wouldn't draft Brees at 10. I think it's too early. You're not going to take a defensive end, which is that could play maybe a 3 technique, or maybe can move inside like Lucas Van Ness, or maybe more of a situational guy like him. I don't think you take a guy like that early. You want a guy to start first day and now and really start producing. Jordan Davis needs to be good this year. I think we all know this. High ankle sprain after 6-7 games, and he played at a really high level. I think, just more conditioning and, needs to stay healthy. I think Jordan Davis is going to be a really good player, and I think he's got the right players around him that he's going to learn from, and I think it's going to work out really well. Really just got to stay healthy and have an awesome training camp, and awesome, a good off season, which is really going to matter. You know what I mean? So even like they could go and maybe in the second, maybe third round, and maybe go get a Gervon Dexter that they've brought in on a pre-draft visit, that needs a little bit of work on technique and motor and, stuff like that. Maybe bulk up a little bit more. But I don't want a guy that I have to develop in the next 2-3 years. I'm looking for a guy that could start right now and be a force to be reckoned with and be disastrous in this backfield as much as possible, because I think obviously the edges are going to help a lot, as well as Jordan Davis, Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham will help a lot. Defensive end is pretty good right now. They can always add another body, and obviously with Barnett coming back, I don't know what I'm kind of looking for him. He's going to be playing for himself, because the guy's not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle next year, whether he has a good or a bad season. I don't think he's still going to be here, and he really needs to just do something for us. I'll support him, but he's got to do something for us this year, and obviously a first-round pick that hasn't really worked out. Big player for the Super Bowl, and obviously the playoff run we had that year on some plays, but other than that, hasn't really done much, and it's just been a complete mess, not only with his injuries, but with his attitude on the field, and it's really, I think, pissed me off and a lot of other fans off. But like I said, having those edge rushers with these DTs are going to, really garner their success as well. Look at some of the guys getting paid, like Javon Hargrave gets paid, $21 million a year at 30 years old. And, we're going to see what he looks like. I think he's probably going to look as good in the 49ers defense when he's more of a pass rusher and not in a below average defensive tackle when it comes to the run. But with these guys, I'm looking for a pass rusher here. I'm not looking for a run stuffer or a balance. If there's a balance, great. But if not, I'm looking for a pass rusher. That's what I'm looking for here. So I don't care if Kalijah Kancey can't stop the run. I don't care if Brees can't stop against the run. I don't. I'm looking for looking for backside pursuit, pressure, motor, a guy that could, give pressure for a long time and, be that blue chip player that the Eagles really need next to Jordan Davis for the future. That's what we're kind of looking for here. So I don't know if Jalen Carter is really going to be somebody that the Eagles are going to move up for. I don't know how far they're going to go up. I don't think that, if he's between 7 to 8, sure, they'll move up. But when it's like 5, you have to move up to 3 or 4? Like I said, I just don't think it's possible. I mean, yeah, they can move up and give away some draft capital even next year with those compensatory picks still looming, and they have an extra second-round pick if that's what it takes, but I don't know if I would give that up. I don't know if they move up and inside the top 10 just to get Jalen Carter. Like I said, if you're moving inside the top 10 or some way the Eagles trade up to the 3rd overall pick with the Cardinals, you're taking Will Anderson at that point. I'm not even taking Jalen Carter. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of decisions that are going to have to be made. Whether they're going to skip on next player available at 10, say if Carter and Will Anderson are gone and say they don't want Bijan Robinson, then they got to really make sure they don't mess this pick up. They have to make sure that whatever DT that they do draft is going to produce day one. I'm not looking for a guy a few months down the road of the season that's going to start to produce. I'm looking for a guy that's going to produce immediately. And honestly, that's why you have the offseason training camp, joint practices that Sirianni loves. And obviously, you only have 2 preseason games, so you're kind of limited. But the guy, whoever comes in here is going to need a lot of reps. You got to see what they could do. And that's what it's going to come down to. I don't want a guy that we have to, after a year or after 2 years. Like, I understand, like, you have to. I always give passes the first-round picks. Like Jordan Davis, I gave him a pass first year. First-round picks, I always have to give a pass. After their first year, it's not enough for me. After 2 years, yes. Then I need to know, like, by the second year, I need to see a lot more. But if they bring in a blue chip player that we know it's going to be, the guy next to Davis, yeah, he's got to produce, especially if you're looking for a pass rusher. I better see some pass rush capability, whoever they bring in here, because the last thing we need is to bring in the wrong guy in the first round. The Jordan Davis stuff is kind of making me nervous a little bit, but not as much because of having the injury. Then they brought in more, Sue and Linval Joseph, and it was a big rotation at that defensive line. But yeah, I think Jalen Carter is the guy. I think they really want him, and the Eagles have $21.6 million in cap space. I don't know what they're doing with some of that cap, if they're waiting on after the draft to do another type signing. There's really no defensive tackles. There's no defensive tackles in free agency. It looks like Quinton Jefferson did sign with the Jets. So he's off the board right now. So there's really nothing left. So the Eagles are kind of stuck with, they have to make the right pick here. You know what I mean? And that's just where it's going to have to go to. So other than that, let me know what you guys think. Do you think the Eagles move up for Jalen Carter if he's drafted by Seattle at 5, or if you if you trade up in front of Seattle, do you think you would might as well just draft Will Anderson? Would you still draft Bijan at 10, or do you think the Eagles are going to move back, not get best player available, and still try to get that blue chip defensive tackle they need next to Jordan Davis? It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be fun. The excitement is just going to pour and get more rumors and speculation, and all this stuff is going to happen. And yeah, I think it's going to be crazy. So you guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And I will see you guys. Oh, and make sure, if you guys lasted this long in this video, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We cover the Eagles every single day. Make sure you get your Philly Shakedown Draft merch. Pre-orders are available still. We've sold a lot of hats. Go get your Philly Shakedown merch in the description below. And I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up? Follows live. Peace out, guys. Peace.